Welcome to the Artist Academy podcast, a place where we focus on the business side of art to help you attract more customers, increase profits, and ultimately live a life of creativity and financial freedom. I'm your host, Andrea Earhart, and today we're going to have a bit of a year in review type episode in order to plan for 2022. This is the thing right now, right? Everybody's amped up, ready to go. We're doing the thing, and I think it's really important to first just take a step back and look at what happened in 2021. Learn from the mistakes, and which really there's no mistakes. It's just learning experiences, right? And see what we did right and look at the goals we made for last year. So one of my favorite things to do right now is to look at the sheet or the note section that I filled out January 1st of each year. So January 1st, 2021, and then 2020, and compare them. And I typically section things off into, okay, what do I want to accomplish this quarter? What do I want to accomplish for the first half of the year, for the whole year? And then what's my 5 and 10-year goal? And it's just broken up into little things like that. Like, what do I want to do right now? Are there any projects that I want to focus on right now? And then does that add up, and can I build upon that to ultimately meet my 5 to 10-year goals? So let's do that today. But first, let's look back on what went right in 2021. So I'm going to share a couple of mine, and I would really love if you took the time to just think and pat yourself on the back, or maybe write it down, a list of all the things that you have accomplished in 2021, meaning, was your project, let's see, did you have a project this year that was maybe your highest paying gig yet? So maybe you got a $1,000 mural, this year, or a $5,000 or a $10,000 mural this year. That's something rather than the big things. Let's get really specific. Like maybe you painted more murals this year than you did last year. Maybe you finally got prints figured out to where now when people order a print from you, it's really easy because all you have to do is put in the order and boom, like you have the printing figured out, you have the shipping figured out. Maybe you did all of that this past year. That's something to accomplish. Maybe you finally got your website up. Write that down. And let's just take a second to appreciate all the things we did. Like, for instance, a couple of mine, I had a really big year this past year. And if I didn't stop to really just appreciate what I did, I think I would just go on to the next thing and be like, okay, higher numbers, bigger brands, like let's do this thing. But last year was a really big year. Like, for instance, I wrote a book, which is just nuts, which that took up about half, maybe. Yeah, I'd say right at half of my year. So from about June and July to currently, really, I'm still doing stuff for the book right now, but it's finished and it should be out anytime now. But one of those things that I had to look back on for 2021, I had a goal that I wanted to make $200,000 total for the year. And I knew going into that would be quite a stretch because personally in my business, I grow about $20,000 every single year. Just to give you, a monetary idea of my growth, typically every year I make about $20,000 more than I did the previous year, which is amazing growth, right? Absolutely no complaints about that. But I was like, okay, if I stretch really far and if I work really hard, I could hit that $200,000 mark. Well, it did not happen. But a big reason for that is because I took on writing the book. So that took a lot of my time. It took more time than I had anticipated, but luckily I had set some time aside in the fourth quarter to really, there were just a couple weeks at a time where I didn't really leave the house. I would schedule maybe 1, maybe 2 projects for the week that were just day projects like window painting. And then I would spend the rest of the time in the house editing, writing, and just getting stuff done. And that took up a lot of space. And about halfway through the year, I was on track to make $200,000. And come June and July, I had to take a step back and think, okay, if I take on this book thing, it's not necessarily going to be a $200,000 year for me. And I don't know that I would want it to be, because that would just be way too much for my mind and my body to do, write a book and, really, really grow really fast like that. So I just had to come to terms with that. I was like, okay, I could probably do it this year, maybe, but I can definitely do it next year. So I'm just going to push off that goal next year and write a book because long game, right? Like taking the time to do the things like setting up a website, writing a book, getting your printing strategies down, all long game mentality, because we're taking this so much time right now that's not necessarily doesn't produce like an immediate paycheck. Like I have made almost nothing from the book so far, really, and you make nothing from a book. Let me just rant about that real quick. I have put my heart and soul and months and hours, I want to say maybe 200, 300 hours, somewhere in there, into writing this book. And it's going to sell for $25. Ooh. And of that, I get like maybe, I get less than half. So I'm profiting maybe $10 per book. Maybe. So like, I'm probably not going to get rich off of writing this book, but I knew it was long game because maybe after 10 years, I would make back my investment after a couple of years and then start profiting. And then, anyway, but that just goes to show you like my mindset is always in the long game and rarely right now. But right now, I'm going to have it be in the past. The only time we're going to look at the past in 2021 and other things that happened this past year. We bought a house. And if you've listened to chapter 22 of the book, which was the previous podcast episode, I gave you a little sneak peek of the book. I explain how we bought this house. And it was not planned this year, but we ended up buying a house with a bunch of land and we moved. So it was a really big change, but oddly, like being in this bigger house makes me dream bigger, not necessarily in the form of like buying more things, but just like it expands my mind and like, holy shit, we can do this. We can do anything. Like every year, my mindset goes from, holy crap, I did that hard thing. I can do anything. And then next year, holy crap, I did this other hard thing. I can really do anything. And that's literally how it is every single year. Truthfully, I laugh at myself because there's a Facebook post that I posted, oh gosh, before I actually became an artist, like full time. And I posted, I was like, I don't know how life could get any better. I was having so much fun doing promos and doing that and doing art on the side. And I'm like, I don't think any life could get any better. And then the next year I painted full time and I'm like, I don't think life can get any better. And then the next year painted even more. And then the next year made my business locally. So I got to sleep in my own bed at night and make good money with painting. And so every single year I'm like, life cannot get any better. And every single year I'm like, holy crap. For instance, this year we had a handful of artists in the advanced group hit that $100,000 month mark, which is amazing, which is just another thing where I was just stepping back and I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm teaching artists to go full time and my specialty is to, help them, leave a job they don't necessarily feel fulfilled in and then do painting full time and then make good money with it. But now we're at the point where people have been in long enough, then we've been doing the thing. And that's just what happens when you work hard and are consistent and are a really good painter after trying for, a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long they've been doing it or more. And now they're making $100,000 months. And I'm like, whoa, oh yeah, this is what we're doing. These are my goals. And these are some of the goals of the advanced members. And I'm so excited I'm pretty sure next year we're going to have a few hit the 100K club. And I don't know what I'm going to do, but something with champagne to celebrate with them. And I'm just so excited because, as soon as I started the Artist Academy, I was like, I want to help artists do what I do. And we've had many quit their job and now they're just hitting these amazing milestones. And there's some artists in the Academy who are doing better than the teacher, as in there's Austin, who I'm pretty sure any day now he's going to pass me in TikTok. His following is at 400 some right now, 400 some thousand, I should mind you. And he's going to pass me any day now. And I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. And we had a mural meetup this year, and that's definitely one thing that I'm counting on my list of things that we accomplished. Having over 30 or around 30. Oh gosh, I don't know. They were everywhere. Like artists at our home. So we bought the home and then we had a bunch of artists here and I got to meet these artists that are making these milestones like Chelsea and Lissa and Austin and all of them. And next year, it just has me fired up to do more mural meetups. We have one coming up in Cozumel, and I am personally pumped because I am going to set up a mural gig in Asia somewhere. I don't know where it's going to be, but it's on my list of things to do. And we might do a mural meetup, or I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go. But this year, just getting bits and pieces of like feeling accomplished and like all these different things, like doing the meetup and doing all that, it just gives me more fuel to do more of that in the coming year. But also learn from it, because having a little over 30 artists in one place, I now know I'm not a big fan, just because I really like to have a little bit of one-on-one with people and really get to know them. And there was a lot of people at the mural meetup that I spoke to like twice, and I just didn't get that time. And so the mural meetups coming up this year are going to be a limit of 10 people total, and we'll just have a small group on a big wall in places like Cozumel. We're going to do another one here in Missouri. And yeah, so these are all for advanced members, but yeah, just learning from things, like just, now realizing that having 30 people at a meetup may be a little bit too much, but 10 I think is our happy number. And just learning from, other things that happened this year. Like I took my first customer to court. Hated the experience, but I am chalking that up to a learning experience. And now I know the process and I get to share it with you all, which a podcast about that is coming soon. And it's also included in the book as well. And I just thought it was really funny how I went through a lot of things right before the book came out that I included in it. It was almost like I was supposed to do all this stuff so that I could include this in the book in order to share it. I don't know. That's just how my brain thinks. But I share that because if you have done something really hard and it took a lot out of you this year, just look at it as a learning experience and write it down in the positive column. When I'm writing out things that I accomplished this year, I'm writing that in the positive column because there's just so much that came from that. Even though it was a bad experience, I just didn't like it at all. And just restless times through it wasn't good for my mental health to go through something like that. But it was still, I now know everything not to do in order never to go to court again and never to be in that position. And I get to share it with you. But another thing was I hired a podcast editor in February of this past year, and she was great. And I used her for about 6 months or so. And then I fired my first person. Oh gosh. Yeah, I fired a podcast editor. It was the first time I had to fire someone. It was so weird. And it really wasn't anything big. I just realized that when I hired her, she wasn't a full-on audio editor. She wasn't a specialist. She did a little bit of podcast editing here and there, but she was more of a virtual assistant overall. And so she didn't have that specialty. And I realized before I made the audiobook and before, we get too far down this podcast journey, I wanted someone who really knew what they were doing with audio. So I fired my first podcast editor and it was so funny. I was like, it's not you, it's me. I was but on good terms. And I hired another one. Hey, who's Richie, who is editing this. Hey, so funny talking about someone who is editing this someone. Anyway, and he's doing fantastic. He's an amazing person and all this stuff. But yeah, but it really though, when I hired him, there was just such a big difference because he could recommend me a better mic and then the settings to use on the mic. And he knew what to listen to edit out of the podcast, which I didn't realize wasn't being edited out from the beginning. And anyway, we've come a long way because when I first started this thing, I edited it and then I trained my virtual assistant, Adriana, to edit it. And English is not her first language. So she did a good job, but again, not a specialist. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to hire someone eventually. Then hired another one, more of a specialist. She did all right. And then now we have a specialist on. So that's just the journey. That is my learning journey. And I'm excited to see what 2022 has coming in terms of learning with hiring, because that's where I'm at in my journey right now. I actually just hired another person I am going to wait to introduce her because I want to make sure that it's going to stick, which I really hope it does. But maybe we'll have like a special podcast episode with my new hire on here and we'll ask her all the questions about how, if it's like how it is working for me or something. I don't know. Or just maybe some more behind the scenes of the Artist Academy stuff we could include with her. Anyway, so I hired her basically just to be another person who is me, but is able to assist the Artist Academy members who are in the advanced group better because I can only go so far with how much time I have. And so I really want to make sure that the people, if you're joining and you're watching the videos, I want to make sure that they feel taken care of. And I can't personally reach out to every single person. There's over 100 people. That's just a lot for me. So I'm hiring another person on to just help me maintain and help make it better and help make, the videos more accessible and just make it better. So that's the hiring process I'm going through right now, which is exciting. And then I have another one, which we'll have him on the podcast later. So I'm actually going through another hire right now, which is a business coach, someone who knows more than I do about the process of scaling a business, not necessarily a mural business. So he wouldn't necessarily help most of the listeners. I don't think this is more of like online just systems and funnels and all of the stuff and ads, which I haven't tried ads yet. I'm just waiting for the right person to come on. Oh, I have a story about that. Okay. Okay. I'll just mention this story too. So I was approached by an ads person, somebody who specializes in ads, about in August, and they gave me a really great pitch and I was like, yes, let's do it. And we were going to optimize my prints and sell prints for the fourth quarter. And it ended up not happening, which was just kind of crazy and unexpected. But I ended up putting down a $1,200 deposit with him because he showed me a lot of things. I was like, okay, this guy is legit. So I put down a $1,200 deposit and was planning on paying him $1,200 monthly with having a 2x return. That was his guarantee. I was like, okay, sure. And the contract stated that if he didn't deliver a 2x return, then I would just get my money back. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, what do I have to lose? So put it down. And then he ended up getting too busy and just kept putting me off until finally 2 weeks ago, I was like, hey, like we completely missed the fourth quarter. What's going on? And he was like, I'm so sorry. He had a big client come on and they required a ton of his attention and he hadn't hired yet. So that's where his attention went. And even though we had like tried and we had been in contact like the whole time, it just never got up and running. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to fire you. I'm sorry. He was like, oh no, but it ended up being fine. Like we ended up on good terms. So he refunded my money and I was like, okay, he just didn't have enough time for me. So I am now on to a different ads experiment. So, but just goes to show you, like not everything goes according to plan. And that I just really chalk that up to a learning experience. Like now I know what to ask for and what certain timeline to expect from someone. And now I'm about to work with a business coach. And so, okay, we're about to have our first like big meeting. Actually, it'll probably be the day that this episode airs. Have our first big meeting and he's just going to help me scale. And, there's just so much throughout this journey that I have done on my own. I'm just so tired of experimenting and trying new things and having slow growth, but good growth. And I've just bought into the whole, growing slow is okay and making mistakes is okay. And, and it is. But I am so jealous of some of the artists in the Artist Academy Advanced who have me to lean on and who do lean on me all the time, who can help them. I want someone like that. Like, to be honest, like I am so jealous that my friend Samantha has gotten so much further because she's had guidance, because she's had me to tell her, post to Instagram and Facebook, you need to do this, blah, blah, blah. This is how you like to train her. There's so much just value in that and you can grow so much faster. And I've been able to witness a lot of people in the advanced group do that. And I'm like, yo, it took me 5 years to get to where you are in 2. I'm like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I am their biggest cheerleader. I'm Samantha's biggest cheerleader. She's doing amazing, but I'm kind of jealous because they had a mentor to look up to. And I've been going through this like shooting in the dark. And it's taken me a while, but that's okay because, I bought into the whole long game thing, but I'm ready to hire a business mentor, somebody who has been through the things who can help me and make it easier on me and we can get there a bit faster. And I'm just going to share with you, we like to talk numbers here. So I'm going to share with you what he's charging me. And it's $2,000 per month for me to work with him with a 6-month minimum. So I'm about to drop 12 grand in order to be able to do things easier and faster. And like I said, I am completely bought in to this long game thing, like completely. But I'm ready to get there a little bit faster and without stumbling as much. I don't know how many times I can say that, but I'm just so done. And I want to make things more easier and all of that before I have a kid. Really, that's my timeline that I'm going with. And I just want to get to this level of 200 and helping 200 artists too as well. Like I want to make 200 grand for the year and I want to be helping 200 artists at the same time, go full time and beyond. And that's what I want to do before I decide to have a kid. And I know that hiring a business coach will help me do that a lot easier and faster. So that's what I'm doing. I'm buying into it. Like I drink the Kool-Aid too. But this is why I am so adamant about teaching other artists, because it can speed up your process and it can just take a bit of the weight off of your shoulders. I have artists in the academy message me all the time on Instagram saying, hey, I have this my first mural project. I'm thinking about pricing this. Like, what do you? And then, or they'll post in the advanced group, and they'll be like, "Hey, like, I think I'm gonna try to charge $1,000, but it seems scary. Like, this is my second mural. Like, could I do that?" And then a bunch of artists come in, like, "Yes, you can do this. No, you can do that. Like, use these materials. Do this." Like, it's just easier with help. And now I'm at this level where there are very few people that I can look to that have scaled a business with ads and helped people like in a service business along with a painting business. And there's just very few people that I can look to. And my husband, Ryan, has been very good with business and sales advice, specifically sales advice to help. And I'm just ready for the next step. So that's what I'm doing, because not just a monetary goal. I have some goals of, okay, first off, my big goal for the end of the year. And I'm just going to put it out there. And I know my mom doesn't listen to this, so nobody tell her, which you won't because you don't even know who she is, but she doesn't listen to the podcast. So I want to buy my mom a car at the end of the year. And this vision or this thought came to me when I was in Denver recently painting. And I was like, okay, like I'm making really good money. Like I want to do stuff like, okay, what else? Like I have a nice car. My husband has a nice car. We have a great house. Like I don't really need anything else. We're currently in the process of making over this space to be my really, really big art studio. It's like giant. It's going to be so great. So it's right outside of our home. It's this place that they used to park. The previous owners parked this like big RV in. It's like, it looks like it's like 2 stories, really wide, really long. It's just this big open air space, kind of like it's like a garage. It has like a big garage door on it. Well, we're putting in windows and we're putting in walls. Right now, it's literally just like open insulation in there. Not very pretty, but we're about to redo the whole thing in January. So very soon. And I also realized that art studio is bigger than the home I grew up in. Crazy. So anytime that I am a little, aggravated that it's taking so long to, order the windows and all that, I just step back and I'm like, okay, this art studio space is bigger than the one I literally grew up in and spent the majority of my life in. Chill out. Like when it's going to come whenever. And just more context than that, I was hoping that it was going to be done by January 1st because I'm going to spend a lot of time in there this month and painting. And I'm like, oh, that'd be so great. But right now it's like, there's just boxes in there because I can't take everything out of the boxes. We're going to have to move everything out because they're going to do drywall. And so it's not set up at all right now. And I was like, I was just really hoping it was going to be there, rather than I'm going to have to tear the whole thing apart mid-January because that's when they're going to start the construction. I'm like, this is terrible timing, but whatever. I'm not going to be a brat about it. It's fine. I can, walk my happy ass somewhere else into the house somewhere and paint. Doesn't have to be there. I can always do it later. But just that realization of like, okay, like this is a huge space. And my mom currently lives in the house that I grew up in. It's a trailer, and it's not like a trailer park. It's a nice trailer. It's not like anything run down. Like she's very clean and well kept. So I don't know what anybody's misconceptions of trailers are, but it's cute. It's a cute trailer. It's just older, and she's very happy and content. So I was having a conversation with her about what we would do if we won the lottery, because that's just a conversation that people have. And she's like, I'm simple. I would stay here. I really don't need very much. I'm like, would you get, another car? She's like, yeah, I would definitely get another car. And I was just going along the lines of like, what would you get? Like all this stuff. And little does she know, I'm taking notes in the back of my head. Like, okay, she would like this, she would like that. And I'm so excited. Hopefully the plan is for Christmas this year is to have her open like a little box that has a little toy car in it with a check in there that's like, let's go car shopping or something. And I'm putting that out there because I really want to do it. Heaven forbid there's no like crazy things that happen this year, because if anything, it'll be the next year or the next year. So one day I will do this, but I really want it to be 2022 Christmas. That's the plan. And I'm so excited about it. Really, I wanted to do it this past year, 2021 Christmas, but like we just bought a house. We're redoing the artist. Like there's a lot of things going on. I'm like, also I'm hiring, a business coach for $2,000 a month. I'm like, okay, like, I don't know if right now is the best time. So we're going to do it. I'm so excited. But yeah, those are my plans. So I'm sharing all of this with you. This is not necessarily like a lot of business tips per se, but I think knowing where you came from, as in last year, what you accomplished last year, what you want to accomplish in the coming year, I think there's a lot of power in saying things out loud and working towards something. Because if not, I just have this vision of like everybody running around with their heads cut off like chickens, like just like hanging out. Oh, speaking of chickens, I had it really set in my mind. I was like, we're going to have chickens. We live on like a giant 100-acre farm kind of a thing now, but we're going to get peacocks. I'm so excited. And we just got a pet squirrel. Yeah, random. Like the squirrel like fell out of a tree, and one of our friends nursed it back to health and raised it for a year, and then they moved so they couldn't take it, and so we took it. So now we have a pet squirrel, and just random. But yeah, that's what's going on. And then we're gonna get peacocks, and yeah, I don't know why I just told you that, but another goal that I have. So every year we go to a couple of the big charity events. At the end of the year, I donate a print and I go and live paint. It's a really good way to meet, collectors and just kind of like be in the in crowd and just like get your art seen. Anyway, so I go paint at these live events, and more often than not, actually, they're always charity auctions. And every year we go and you can bid on different things, and the bid item up for auction and the donation goes towards the charity. And you get to take home the item. So a lot of things are, people donate trips and stays somewhere, and then products like meat or products like TVs or whatnot. And every year, like I'll go and I'll donate a painting, and that's like my contribution. And then we'll usually bid on something small, like something that's like $100. Because right now, where we are with money, is spending $100 isn't a big deal. Really, like whatever it takes to fill up my car with gas, not a big deal. Anything up to $100 doesn't matter. Like that's the mentality I'm at right now. I want to get to the mentality where spending $1,000 doesn't matter. Like, that just thinking about that. But I have had conversations this year, actually, with the people who we bought our house from. We were having a conversation at dinner, and we were talking about travel, and they were like, and they mentioned, what's $1,000, And I was like, oh, I'm not there yet. No, because we were talking about travel and like buying a first class ticket versus economy. And I was like, no, like we still buy the, Scotch cheap flights deals when they come up, and the people who we bought the house from, they're on a different level, and they would fly business class everywhere they went because they quote said, what's another $1,000? And I was like, oh, you think like that. I'm going to think like that. You have these conversations with people to know what's possible, because growing up, even to say, what's $100? That was huge. Like that, you don't just say, what's $100 just to be able to spend something like that, or to be able to spend $100 at a charity event and not think twice about it. I want to be able to spend $1,000 and raise my hand and bid on something at that charity for $1,000 and know that that's going to charity. And then we get some little item, whatever it is. But I want to be on that level. And I want to do things like this because, like I said, I've accomplished what I want to accomplish. Now it's my turn to add to the world. I feel like I've taken a lot. I've taken a lot of like opportunities and luck and all the things. Like I've been given a lot. And now I want to turn that around. And I think it's just fun. For no other reason, I just think it's fun to give back and you to know that you're contributing to someone else's life. And one of the stipulations for my mom buying her a car, I'm going to say it has to have remote start. It has to. That's my only stipulation. And it can't be like, it's not going to be an old car. Like it's going to be a car that's going to last a long, long time. And it has to have remote start because I have been experiencing the luxuries of life, like having people come in and clean my home and fold my laundry. That's a life luxury that I absolutely love. Growing up, I was the one doing that with my mom. We would go in and we would clean people's houses for extra money. And she still does that sometimes. And I want to give that to her. I want to be like, no, like I want you, although she would never let someone else come in and clean her home. Never. Like, no, she's not. She likes to clean like that. But I want to give her a luxury of being able to start her car from inside of her trailer and have it be warm in the winter when she goes out to it. Because right now, I know for 20, 30, 40, however long she's been driving, she has always had to go outside in the cold, start the car, go back inside, finish getting ready, and then go. I want her to have that luxury of being able to click a button and the car is warming up. And there's so many things that growing up, like you're taught that luxuries don't matter, like just get by, like being simple is the good thing. You don't want to ask for too much, like as long as you're, you have clothes on your back and food in your mouth, like that's all that matters. And that, you don't need more things to be happy. But I want to show my mom, like I've experienced, you don't need those things to be happy, but it does elevate it just a bit. And it's just nice to have something that's nice that you can have, not because you need it, but because it's just nice to have. Because that's the place in life that I'm at right now. And I don't think it's fair that I get to do this and she doesn't have those. So I want to start giving a little bit to her. And yeah, so that's a big reason for I am hiring a business coach to help me make more in the long term and to order to do things like this because ultimately I want to buy her a house too. So that's a long-term goal. Like that'll be like 10 years from now, I'll buy my mom a house or something. And yeah, I'm just sharing these things. So what are your goals? And it might not be to buy someone a car, but your big goals for the year or for 2 years or 5 years are likely very different than mine. And it might be, something just as simple as like, you don't want to care how much gas it takes to fill up your tank. Like you don't want to second guess that, you don't want to think about that because that's a new thing for me. Like in the past just couple years, I've not looked. I'm like, well, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do. I'm not going to fret about, the number on the gas tank because there's nothing I can do about it. And I'm going to drive anyway. There's just no need to fret about that or the bill at the grocery store or, just that stuff like that. I don't even care about anymore because that's just living life. It's just living life. And this coming year, just looking back at, what we've done and my goals and all of that and so every single year I raise the price of the Artist Academy Advance because there's more content that goes in there and all that stuff. But this year, I don't know if I'm going to make a drastic price increase because I want it to be very affordable for anybody who is still, living paycheck to paycheck and wanting to just quit their job that maybe doesn't pay that much and go full time. Like I understand the work that's needed in there and I want to keep a really affordable option. And I am very aware that the Artist Academy Advance at $32 a month right now is unbelievably cheap. Like unbelievably. And I actually was talking to my business coach, the one I just hired, and another business coach who worked for someone else. We just happened to have a really good conversation. And I was telling them, and they're both saying, like, you're giving a bit much for very little. And I'm like, I realize that. But having students for the past couple of years have a very low entry fee, it's allowed me to build this up past 100 students and really get to know a lot of them and really figure out where your guys' pain points are, what you need from me, how can I help you? Like, where are you getting stuck? Where, like, is it the motivation or is it what tools do you need? Like, how do you want to know money? Like, so I've been sharing, how I've priced every single project that I've ever done in the Artist Academy Advanced, like just showing them, hey, I charged $4,500 for this and did this and blah, blah, blah. Like, and just, I feel like I've gotten a really good basis of getting to know what other artists need so much that I wrote a book about it. So it's been really good research. So this year I'm like, okay, I don't want to raise the price necessarily. Not to say that it won't ever raise, but I want to keep it very affordable. So I'm switching gears just a little bit. Artist Academy Advanced going on just as normal. However, I am introducing a new program to the advanced group-ish, but it's going to be, I don't even know what it's going to be called yet. I'm still trying to figure it out, and I'm going to be working with my business coaches to really figure it out too and figure out what we can offer. But it's going to be some kind of up-level group to where I would like to work with a very small group of artists this year who are very much like me and want more. And they want more for whatever reason, whether they want to give back, whether they want to live a better life, like whatever it is. I want artists who have that fire inside of them who aren't necessarily at the beginner phase. So you have a website, right? They're posting to social media pretty regularly. Like, that's just the core basic things that you need to be doing as an artist, like you do. But I want to work with people who are ready for that next level stuff, much like I am right now, and much like I was a few years ago, and I didn't really have anybody to turn to. And so I want to provide that for people who are maybe just a couple years behind me, just to help them grow faster. The artists who maybe need a more one-on-one consultation more often and need more of a plan, like say, where I can come in and be like, okay, this is the next step you need to do and you need to do it by next week, like something like that. And where I can make a clear plan for someone who maybe is like, well, I'm doing this and doing that, but like, should I be focusing on this? I don't know, like what I want to work with people and figure out how to make the most money and how to do what they really love to do rather than maybe just the commissions that are coming at them and just all of that. So I'm putting together a program right now and it's going to be fire. So, because I'm working with higher specialists than me of, I'm going to be, in a way, the stuff that they're doing with me, the people who I'm paying like $2,000 a month to do stuff with me, I'm going to be kind of taking that and doing it with the Artist Academy too, the up-level group anyway. And it'll be just more advanced stuff, like we'll have a section for like how to monetize on your following and maybe do like the influencer type thing, which I also do on the side. I'm creating videos for brands and all that. So maybe have a little package like that, or maybe do a lot with NFTs, starting to get into that too. And just hiring and I'll have specialists come in and we'll figure out, the best ways to hire. Where do you find people? How do you delegate? So like all that stuff, just a bit that's just next level stuff for the artists who need more one-on-one attention than just coming into the academy and going through the videos and getting the basic stuff. And I am sectioning it off because the stuff in the academy right now, I have had multiple artists come in and they're like, there's a lot in here. Like, it's overwhelming. And I'm like, yeah, just kind of pick and choose. And it has everything you need to get started. But I want the artists, I want to work with the artists who are just like me. And I want to talk to them more often. And we can fuel off of each other, and you can take some of my energy and use it and fuel your business as well. Like, there's so much to be said for being in the same room or being on a call with someone who has done the hard thing before you and can more just give you a clear direction. Like, just talking with some of my business coaches after we get off a 30-minute call, I'm like, I am on fire. I'm like, okay, now I know what to do. And now I know that it's clear. This is what I'm going to do. And like, it's just, there's so much to be said for that. And so I want to offer that to a select few. But again, it's just like the mural meetup, 30 people or more. It's too much for me. I want to work with like 10 people and do like the mural meetups and along like the up level group. And so that's where I'm focused on now. Like, the Artist Academy is up and running. It'll continue to go as usual. I'll give like monthly lessons and we'll go live in there, but I want to take some time to work with the up level group. And selfishly, really, I'm going to be planning some really fun like mural experiences like in other countries and I want people who can join in that. I want people who can like jump in and we'll plan it together. And I'm noticing like I love to travel, but I really love to travel and paint things and like get free stay places. And so that's one thing I'm going to do more of this coming year. And I want other artists to do that with me. And so I have a feeling that the up-level artists are going to be those types. And we're going to work together to get more stuff like that and bring them on. And yeah, so it's not just, it's like kind of selfish. I want friends to travel with because I've just known forever that I want to be a traveling artist, like not full-time. Love sleeping in my own bed at night, right? But it's just really fun to maybe like once a quarter take a really cool trip to like Asia or something and go paint there. And I feel like the up-level group are going to be the type who, want more and want to do all that. And they're going to come with me. So stuff like that. But we're also going to have the mural meetups in Missouri and like in the country too. So yeah. Okay. All right. We've like run over a lot of time. So the next solo episode I'm going to be doing is about expenses. So more of what I've spent in my business in order to make more money. So for instance, like paying that $2,000 a month coach, things like that. Or I'm just going to be going through my 2021 like bill from last year of revenue versus expenses and what I've spent on paint, what I've spent on editors, what I've spent on all the stuff in order to play that long game and make more money in the long run. So that's going to be the next one. We're going to talk money, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. So, all right. I hope this has helped you maybe get a clear direction on where you want to go and maybe dream a bit bigger. I'm sharing with you my dreams. And I want to hear yours. If you have a crazy goal that you're like, oh my gosh, this is my goal for the year, put it out there. Don't just say it out loud. Maybe just like put it out there, write it down, post it in the Artist Academy group. If you're in the advanced group, post it in the group. If you're in the free group, which is just the facebook.com/groups/Artist Academy, it's our free group of like-minded individuals who I pop in there every once in a while to, do some posts and maybe do a live or two and post your stuff in there and just declare it. This is what you want to do this year. These are the goals I have. This is what I did last year that I'm proud of. And let's move on. All right. Let's all have an amazing, amazing year. I hope you have a great rest of your Monday and we'll just start short term. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And then let's just start this. Everybody in the 31-day challenge. I hear you. I see you doing it. I'm doing it along with you. We're starting off the year awesome with the 31-day challenge. And yeah, this is going to be the best year yet. All right. I'm done. Okay. Bye.